No, we're in the final stages. We're really close. We've got a meeting this morning with Winston Peters, and we've just got some things to work through, and so we just keep working our way through it. The topic of conversation gets narrower, and we're getting close.
Still nutting through policy.
Are we today talking about policy? Still talking about policy, or are we talking about cabinet positions today?
Look, we're talking about really just closing out a couple of issues on policy and making sure we really understand what we're all signing up for. It's really important. As I said, we started this process looking at all three parties' manifestos, a lot of detail, gone through line item by line item, and as I said, we've got a couple of issues to close out, and that's what we'll keep working through today.
They're thorny issues, though, aren't they?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they're issues where we just want to make sure we understand where everyone's at, and we've got a form of language and words that we can all support.
So would you describe it as though you are on similar wavelengths, but you just need to clarify wording, or are you at different positions?
What I'd say is, look, we, as I've said before, the parties actually have had very good alignment around the goals. A lot about the mechanisms by which we deliver those goals, or the policies that deliver those goals, has been a lot of what we've been talking about. And I know it's taking time, but it's really important that we get good understanding and good solidity in understanding what the policies are.
Do you expect the meeting to take as long as it has over the last couple of days?
No, I mean, we're just really in the final stages, so it's just making sure we are fully aligned, and then there's some process work to do after that.
Is progress further along with ACT than it is with New Zealand First?
Look, I'm not getting into that, but we've got a couple of issues to close out with both, but as I said, we're in the final stages.
Will you need a meeting with ACT today?
Not sure. We'll work that through. We've been able to resolve with both parties actually a lot of issues we've been able to do via phone, telephone conference calls, or we've been able to do virtually through email and other things.
In terms of the final agreement, are we looking at something that is going to be all three parties together, or one with National and one with New Zealand First?
I'm not going to get into that. I'll talk about the format when we're ready to announce.
Ministerial positions will be able to go through quite quickly?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I just think I think I've got a good sense of where we need to go, and I'm hoping we can move those issues through very quickly with the parties. Again, not getting into any of that at this stage.
When do you hope to reconvene Parliament?
Look, as fast as we possibly can. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do. Part of what we're talking about is a joint government 100-day plan. We need to be able to get going with that as quickly as possible. And as I said before, we're going to run Parliament right up until Christmas, so we can get stuff done.
Obviously, it's tricky to give a timeline, but do we expect to have a government maybe early next week?
Again, I won't get into that. I just don't want to make a commitment around timing. It takes as long as it takes, and I appreciate everyone's patience with the process. But what we're trying to do here is form a government that actually has a really strong foundation, that has good alignment. We're three parties. We're in an MMP environment in coalition. I think we just be thankful that it's not 10 months of negotiation like it was in the Netherlands recently.
What do we read into the fact that you're not wearing a tie today? Things a bit more relaxed in there?
No, it's just it's Saturday, and so this is me being casual. All right, team. See you later. Take care.
Thanks.
Fair enough too. That is Christopher Luxon there speaking as he goes into negotiations. And we have senior reporter Isabel Ewing on stakeout duty there this weekend too. And Isabel, good morning. I understand that Winston has just arrived as well.
That's right, Rebecca. About just before 10 o'clock, we had Winston Peters arrive ahead of his meeting with National at 10 o'clock. And I can tell you, Rebecca, the person that was wearing a tie, Winston Peters was certainly wearing a tie. So there's no casual Saturday vibes for Winston Peters. As you also might expect from Winston Peters, not too keen to get into any questions from media. Didn't really give any new information when I asked him, what is the update for people who might be sitting at home wondering when things might be wrapped up. With a big grin, he said, well, we can't talk about that until negotiations are wrapped up. So fair enough, I guess. But a big smile from Winston Peters as he heads into talks with National today.
Happy and relaxed then, Isabel. What is expected to happen today or this weekend?
Well, as we know, Rebecca, it's been 15 days, I think, since those special votes were counted. Starting to feel a little bit like Groundhog Day for the journalists who have been waiting for any update, any nugget of information. We saw Deputy National Leader Nicola Willis heading out just earlier at about 9:30 to the dairy, she said, to grab a power drink. Now, that sentiment might be reflected by a few of the people involved in the negotiations and a few of the journalists out here. But what we do understand is happening today is these talks between between New Zealand First and National. We understand good progress was made yesterday, that they reduced the number of policy issues, but they still need to nut through quite a few. Now, there's been a different sort of style of negotiations between ACT and National. They have been conducting their negotiations sort of via correspondence. We understand perhaps that ACT and National have made quite a lot of progress, but of course they still need to cross-check all of that progress with New Zealand First. And so ACT and National potentially close to an agreement, but still a lot to be worked through today. We asked Christopher Luxon earlier, you saw there about ministerial posts. He seemed to think that those would be worked through quite quickly. So a mix of sort of optimism, but a reluctance, of course, to get into any sort of timeline. We understand that perhaps there might be a government early next week, but I would not, like everybody I think involved in this, want to bet on that. So a little bit of an update there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Isabel Ewing, and for your stakeout duty this weekend too.